So it's my pleasure to introduce some folks that are going to be joining us from Utah. I think I've got a team of folks there in Utah. Let me unmute their line and see if we can get them up and running here. So John Hardman, let's see if you're on the line. John, you on the line? John and Bruce in
Yes,
Utah.
we're here. This is Bracken Henderson.
Yes, and we're ready to begin if everybody else is.
All right, that sounds good. I'm going to check two audios here. Greg Stone from West Virginia. Are you on the line?
I am, yes.
And Mike Brown, we still got you on the line?
Yeah, we sure do, Ray.
Well, very good, folks. Just to remind you, go ahead and type in your questions to us. We expect to go just a little bit past noon today to finish our presentations and close with our questions. And we're looking forward to these presentations that are in front of us. Utah, Bruce Karren and John Hardman, and team members. West Virginia, Greg Stone, and we'll finish the presentations with a presentation from Washington State with a surprise speaker. So it's my pleasure to introduce our folks from Utah. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. I'll bring your slides up.
Okay, Ray. I'm Bruce Karren, Chairman of the North Cache Conservation District and Local Work Group Chairman for 2014. I have with me Bracken Henderson, our Zone 1 Resource Coordinator, Thane Mickelson, the Utah Conservation Commission Executive Director, and John Hardman, our NRCS District Conservationist. We are a multi-county local work group, and as we've sat here this morning, we're happy to see that other states have the same problems that we do. We have approximately 12 local work groups in the state of Utah with 38 districts, so you see that our local work groups are combined with various districts and counties. We're located in northern Utah. We are a water-rich county in a desert environment, which presents a lot of problems. We have irrigated and dry cropland, range, pasture, and federal land, and our resource concerns with our local work group are animal feeding operations, sage grouse issues, irrigation management, and invasive weeds. And I'd like to turn some time to Bracken as he takes us through our slides this morning.
Okay, thank you. And Ray, just leave that current slide up that says Cache Rich Local Work Group at the top. Okay, and then just go ahead. And we'll just tell you next slide when we want you to move forward. One of the things we wanted to bring to the table is that the local work group, it functions as a clearinghouse for project ideas, and we need to not make it something that it isn't. It's an opportunity to come together to discuss ideas. It's not a planning session. That would be going beyond carrying the ideas further into a coordinated resource management plan or a TMDL, total maximum daily load, or some other planning effort. But we are focusing on the Cache Rich Local Work Group here in northern Utah to just give you a sampling for what we do here in Utah. Our district meets twice annually. Typically that is initiated when we need to address NRCS program priorities, but we want to emphasize that we're not strictly driven by that. We have two counties, the Cache County and Rich County. There's 3 conservation districts, 2 of them in Cache County, which are the North Cache and Blacksmith Fork, as well as the Rich County Conservation District. As we've had participating, the Utah Association of Conservation Districts, state agencies, our Department of Ag and Food, Environmental Quality, federal agencies, NRCS, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and Farm Service Agency. We've had local government. We've had the county council, county commission is called in some areas. But the big stress that we wanted to make is that this is a multi-county effort. Rich County is much more range related, have a lot of public grazing land issues. Cache County is very irrigated crop focused, more development pressure, and so very diverse resource issues, and we have to bring those together in the local work group. Next slide, please. One of the things I also wanted to make a note of is that NRCS at the state level and the local level have been very good to encourage the districts to try to fulfill their leadership role. In some ways, we're having a challenge trying to get back into that because I don't think we've experienced some of the things that Bill from Texas was talking about, and I think that nationally, I think we do have a challenge that by the time it gets to the local work group for the NRCS programs, our ability to influence it is watered down to a certain extent, but I don't think that's NRCS's fault or the district's fault. I think it's both of us need to work together on that. Two things we felt like we could bring to the table. Go ahead, next slide. Oh, sorry, go back one. Oh, there it is. Okay. We have county resource assessments that we have put together that have helped us in our efforts. The top 5 resource priorities have been identified in each county. So actually in our local work group, we have 2 resource assessments, and the top 5 priorities that not necessarily hierarchically, but they help influence what we do, and these are updated every 5 years but reviewed annually. And really what we work on is driven by what opportunities become available. The second thing that we feel like we've done well is these Grill the Districts, what we call them, which is our outreach effort where we feed the local supervisors, invite them to come in, talk to the district supervisors, give them their input, and talk about what's going well, what's not, what they'd like to see, and that has worked very well. We've done them both in Cache and Rich counties. Another thing that we've been able to do is, yes, we come together and a lot of the focus is on establishing priorities for NRCS programs, but we will bring resource concerns to the table and then we figure out where they best fit. It may be NRCS programs, it may not be. We have some state programs, Grazing Improvement Program, Watershed Restoration Initiative, ARTL, which is a loan program, and there's other programs, and we may decide that some resource issues fit better in one of those rather than an NRCS program. I think one of the things that's worked really good is the district chairman that chairs the local work group does a good job of ensuring all participants have an opportunity to comment and bringing everybody together. And we're not just creating projects to chase funds, but we're really attacking which resource issues there are. Okay, next slide, please.
I think it's probably common with all of us. There are a number of things that are not working well. One of the problems we've had are the programs keep changing, the priorities shuffle, deadlines come and go, and it makes it difficult on our NRCS staff to accomplish what needs to be done. and we have a little bit of difficulty in deciding what we're going to do, and but we've received some good help from our NRCS staff here in Logan, Utah. Next slide. If you'll notice in the right-hand side of the screen, for those that are interested, is the Rich County Resource Assessment. And you can go to www.uacd.org and you can see the resource assessments that we have finished. Our outreach education we do with our Grill the District. We have a quarterly newsletter, and every fall we have a 5th grade field day where we try to take the children up the canyon and do things. But I think one of the things that I have found as a chairman and is I try to get something out of everybody that is sitting in the room around the table, that I'd like to try and get an opinion out of everyone. But I think one of the real big issues that I have is time management. We as supervisors don't have any more time than we had 50 years ago. And so the success, I think, of a local work group becomes time management. We have to do more with less, and that's a challenge. So we need to have good people in good places at the right times, and then train our supervisors so that they do not feel like they are inadequate. And we have probably a lot of other things we could say, but our time is used, and we'll turn it back to you, Ray.
Well, thanks, fellas. Very good insight from Utah. You've got some personal experiences you're sharing with us and some important recommendations. I know there's 4 of you in the room there, so while I switch slides, is there anything else you want to say before we move to West Virginia?
Yes. This is Thane Nicholson. I'm the Executive Director of the Utah Conservation Commission and work over the state programs. Just like to make a quick comment. I think the local work group is an awesome place to gather the root concerns of an area, and by gathering those concerns that each area possesses, that's about all you can expect from this local work group process. But what that can do is then identify those things that need additional work. And as Bracken mentioned, by looking at those concerns and then dealing with larger planning efforts, I think you'll see that funding sources will be made available as those planning processes are put into place. And this really ties in well with this RCPP program that's out now, because it's going to be expected that we work together with multi-agencies to accomplish common goals. And as you get to know your local county officials and other agency officials in the local area, you're going to start working as a team together to accomplish those goals. So I think that's a real effective place to start to find what are the root issues from a resource standpoint in each of your areas. Thank you.
Thanks, Thane. We've got a few questions rolling in here.